Alright, for this video, I want to talk about my experiences with the dangers of determinism. And the reason I want to make this video is because it has a lot to do with how severe my depression had gotten in the past. And I had previously made a video in which I had talked about my depression, but in this video, I want to talk in more detail about it. And so I want to explain more about what determinism actually is before I get too far in the video, because it just wouldn't make sense not to explain what it is. So I had looked up a definition for it, and this is what I found. I'm looking at my notes. It says determinism is the doctrine that all events, including human action, are ultimately determined by causes external to the will. And my interpretation of that is that, according to the doctrine of determinism, everything that happens, everything that us as humans do, is determined by things beyond our will, meaning that we don't actually have control of what happens to us and what we do, because the things that we do and the things that occur, according to this doctrine, are determined by things outside of our will. And so, what makes that dangerous is if you use it as an unhealthy coping mechanism in a way that it leads to you not holding yourself or anyone else accountable for their actions. And that's obviously a problem, because in order for us humans to learn from our mistakes and not repeat them, we have to first take accountability for our actions and hold each other accountable for our actions, because if we just allow anything and everything to go, if we just let everything go, if we just allow everything to be considered acceptable as far as human behavior is concerned, then that would mean that lots of people would get away with all sorts of crimes, and there would be a lot of chaos and a lot of pain and a lot of suffering, and that would not be okay. I would not want to live in that kind of world in which I would not want to live in a kind of world in which nobody was held accountable for their actions. And so, another danger of determinism would be if you use it in a way in which you allow the things that happen to you to be disregarded and not used in a way in which you learn from them and try to prevent yourself from being hurt too badly by those things. And so that was my main issue. For a long time, I allowed myself to not learn much from things that had happened to me, and I had allowed myself to continue suffering because I used determinism to make myself feel helpless, and I used it to make myself not want to do anything to help make my situation better. And so my depression got worse as a result of that. And so it took me a long time to realize the problem with what it took me a long time to realize the problem with how I was dealing with my problems, and that I needed to have better coping mechanisms. And so it took me a long time to be able to actually figure out what I needed to do to help make my quality of life better. And so I had to hold myself accountable for my actions. I had to give myself the feeling that I was in control of my life and that there were things that I could do to make my life better. I had to do that in order to make my life better. And so as long as I held on to using determinism in the ways that I had described, for as long as I held on to that, I was pretty much at a standstill. I was not helping myself. I was not getting a better quality of life until I actually took accountability and took on the responsibility of doing things to improve my own quality of life. And so, even though it was comforting at times, even though it was easy at times for me to just let myself go and for me to just not worry about things because of me thinking, oh, it's okay, whatever happens will happen no matter what, and I'm not really in control, so what does it matter anyways? And, well, it does matter, actually, because, to me at least, how I feel about things matters to me, and if there is something that I can do to prevent myself from having a lot of suffering, then I think I want to do it, because I don't like to suffer a lot, so I want to improve the quality of my life, and I want to take accountability for my actions. I also want to improve the lives of other people as well, so I have to make myself feel like I have control in my life so that my life does not fall apart. And so I have to be careful to not allow myself to be stuck going through the motions. I have to reflect on things. I have to give my life meaning, and I have to help other people find meaning in their lives. Because being isolated is going to make my life have less meaning to me. And so I have to not focus just on myself, but on other people as well, so that my life continues to have meaning to me. Because in order for my life to continue having meaning to me, I have to serve a purpose beyond just myself. And so there's this thing called the domino effect, which I didn't look up a definition for that because I don't think I need to, but with the domino effect, it's like things fall into place by one thing being a cause for another, which in turn is a cause for another thing, and that just keeps going. And so I thought that because everything that happens in my life has to do with something causing it to happen, I was using that to make myself feel helpless at one point in time. And I want to use it in a way that I make myself feel like I'm not helpless and that there are things that I could do to better my life. But yeah, that's it for this video. Peace.